Red Sox fans have long been hearing. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. This is going to be tough. It's over. And the Cubs have fallen for it all. 8-7-10.
Welcome to the best sports podcast on the planet. This is Triple Shot Sports. I am your host, Brandon Combs, joined as always by the Soup Boss. Soup Boss, how we doing, buddy?
Well, not always. I mean, I wasn't here last time, and just so people know, Mr. Combs here, he did try to trade me for something. That's why I wasn't here, but he couldn't get a fifth. He couldn't get a sixth. He couldn't even get a seventh pick for me. So I cleared waivers. I came back and signed on as a free agent. So I'm glad the team would take me back. So
here we go. Hey, look, it seems like, when you're not here, things don't go always as planned. But we had a decent show on Sunday. Had a lot of fun with Mike Reeves. We laughed at his buddy Benzi's top 10 a little bit, and he had the Colts in his top 10 too, though. He had the Colts at 9. So
what did he do?
Yeah.
He's got him in top 10, and other people on RTF are complaining about how you and I and one other person have the Steelers in top 10. Like this is where we're gonna go. We're gonna say that Phillip Rivers going into a crap team is better than a Ben Roethlisberger going into a Steelers who literally in the playoff format this year would have made the playoffs last year. Like that's
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We've got our brains on straight. That's why you signed me back as a free agent. I think that's all.
Yeah. So we have a great show lined up for you. We are going to definitely dive into the MLB trade deadline. We had a lot of moves yesterday, a lot more moves than I thought were going to happen. We're going to get an NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. We're going to play way or no way, and we will get to our Shop Talk segment as well. But before we do that, Boss, why don't you tell the people where they can find us?
Yeah, definitely, guys. And we're continuing to try to get you guys connected with us more and more. The more engagement we get, the more you're going to force me to be able to get on these social media sites. I want to almost have the excuse to constantly duck into a bathroom stall and tweet and Instagram with you guys. But not only, of course, here on Facebook, RTF Network, and Triple Shot Sports Podcast, which a lot of you guys connect with us on there, which we're very thankful for. But on Instagram and Twitter, so that's the @ symbol for all the 40-plus fogies. I'm not there yet, so I can say that. The @ symbol, the number 3. I'm doing that actually backwards. Then 3. I got it. There we go. @ 3 Shot Sports. And you can get us there, interact with us. I didn't get the Twitter up because I wasn't here last week, but I'll be doubling it and trying to put even more interaction after this show with the Twitter feed. So @ 3 Shot Sports, but even most importantly, through YouTube, @ Triple Shot Sports Podcast. I know it's long, but if you start typing that in @ Triple Shot Sports, even then we should be right up there near the top. You add the word podcast, we are now on the top. We need you guys to get on there and subscribe, like those videos, be a part of it. If you are on YouTube and watching the videos, if you comment, we will see it live during the live recordings. It's not like, I got to be on Facebook to comment with people. No, you can be on YouTube and comment. We see it. We can bring those comments up. But if you do that, we're pushing. We're pushing to get to just 100 subscribers. And that sounds so cheesy, but when you're starting something new, you got to dig. But we need you guys to help us. So even if you have, for the 27 people that have subscribed, share that. Let people know who we are on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, like some videos, and meet us there during some of these live feeds.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you say we're pushing, and we're pushing is an understatement, as I am actually sharing the link right now. And so, look, I upped the ante. We started off by saying that, we were going to give away 5 items. And so on Sunday, I went to 10 items. And what I'm doing now is we have 10 items here.
Which is insane when one of your items is assigned to T's junior jersey. That should just be one item. That should be it.
Let's get into that. So this is going to be like, I'm kind of treating the fans kind of like kids at this point because, if you don't do what we ask, we're going to start taking your stuff away from you.
Listen,
and I don't want to do that. I want to give my stuff away.
And as two dads with about 600 kids each, we know how to yell at you guys. We'll start smacking you guys down if we have to.
Hey, I only know about 17, so I don't know about 600.
I didn't say I take ownage of all 600.
All right, so let's get into some of the items here. You'll like this one, Soup Boss. This is the only Cardinals jersey I own, but it is a Lou Brock autograph jersey. You can see the Lou Brock autograph right there on the 2, and then you got the JSA certification right there on the bottom of the 2.
Hall of Fame player jersey.
And that's an authentic too. That's not even a.
That should be the only one.
So you got that one. I've got a Joe Mauer 2014 Minnesota Twins.
There we go.
Jersey. This is also a authentic collection, MLB authentic collection. It's got the patches, as you can see, the All-Star Game 2014 patch. Joe Mauer there with his signature on top of the 7 with the authentications on the bottom.
And we got a ton of Minnesota fans following us. Come on, all you Skull
Then,
people.
as you mentioned, we have the Fernando Tatis Jr. jersey.
I'm going to make 75 fake accounts and just subscribe. I just really want that jersey.
This is a replica. It's just got the San Diego on the front, but still, it's a Fernando Tatis Jr. jersey. I see these.
You can get him right now to sign toilet paper, and I'd friggin' take that. Here's
another one that we got. And this one's a certified rookie signature. So this is a Saquon Barkley certified rookie sig. I mean, this jersey is a beauty. If you are a New York Giants fan, I feel bad for you as a New York Giants fan, but that's a pretty sick jersey to own, to add to your collection. Another thing that I have here is a Juan Soto autographed bat. This kid's a stud.
Young stud.
Up and coming stud.
Yep.
And this guy he rakes all over the place.
Drinks with a bat. Ooh.
The other thing we have is to go with the Joe Mauer All-Star jersey. I've got a Joe Mauer 2014 All-Star ball. If you look behind me here, I'll go to full screen. I have got a Calvin Ridley Alabama jersey.
What is that one next to it?
And I've got a Michael Vick Atlanta Falcons jersey. And that's pre-dog fighting. That's human joystick Michael Vick jersey right there. I know a lot of people are getting at me about that, but look, I'm trying to get rid of it. So, hey, that's one of the things I'm giving away. Another thing that we're giving away here, 2 more items that we got for our 10. This is a full-size replica Philip Lindsay speed helmet.
I should have stayed a free agent and just subscribed on and just, let Wayne G host this, get a bunch of these items, and then came back and then just had him hanging behind me. Just be like, all these things I got?
Everybody except us is eligible, so get your son. I mean, your son's already subscribed, so hey, he might win something for you.
Man, I got my 12-year-old. He's subscribed. So,
and the other thing is, hey, close your eyes, Soup Boss. Just close your eyes. You don't want to see this.
It's like bad or good or.
It's a New York Yankees batting helmet.
Hey, we need outhouses everywhere, man.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's
part of the construction crew.
It's open. I mean, you can get rid of it too. Hey. So look, guys, those are the 10 items we're giving away. They're not cheap ticket items. They're not your typical. We're giving away,
this undrafted rookie that was at a card signing thing at Bishop Elementary School.
I'm not giving you away an RTF, network T-shirt or anything like that. I'm giving you away some real sports items here. And all we have to do is get to 100 subscribers. So,
what's the caveat again?
I'll fight. I think he meant Saquon.
Saquon, yeah.
I think he spelled it wrong.
Siakam.
He'll fight. Jared will fight anybody. Okay. So, but anyways, Jared is going to go to everybody's door who does not subscribe and fight them. So make sure you get onto the YouTube page, Triple Shot Sports Podcast on YouTube, and subscribe. As soon as we get to 100 subscribers, everybody who entered and subscribed is automatically entered. We'll run a free giveaway. It's going to be through the computer. I'm going to not be pulling names out of hats. We're going to go through the computer. Top 10 will win. Every Sunday, though, I'm taking away one item.
One item every Sunday goes away.
If we don't get to 100 subscribers by Sunday, we're taking away items. I might start with something small like the Yankees helmet, or I might decide to keep that Tatis Jr. jersey.
You can just ship it to my address.
We're just trying to get our name out there. We're trying to get people listening, ears on the show. That's all we ask. Go to YouTube and subscribe. All right. So
sorry,
anyway,
I keep looking down at the Celtics game. That's trying to finish up. Don't blow it for me because I know your feeds are always a couple seconds ahead of mine.
Yeah, I'm actually on the Cubs-Pittsburgh game right now. Cubs are up 2-1.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Let's get to what you guys came here for, and that is some sports talk. We are going to start with the MLB trade deadline.
Oh, sorry.
Celtics
just won. Celtics just won. They were up by 3. The Raptors had the ball and tried to shoot a deep 3 and missed it.
So. I said on Sunday, I told Wayne I would not be surprised if the Celtics swept Toronto. They look to me like they are the best team in basketball right now. So, do
you know that they are the only team in NBA for the season and postseason now that are top 4 efficiency in both offense and defense in all of the NBA? But they won't sweep the Raptors. They'll lose 1 or 2.
All right. Steve O'Brien says good stuff. It is, Steve.
Yeah.
It's really good stuff. Hey, make sure you get in there. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Hey, and get with your friends and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Tell all your friends about it. Get them in there. Let's get them some free gear too.
And make sure, guys, if you can find a way to check in your settings, I don't get what it is, but you have to make sure that your subscribes are allowed to be public. Because when I go in there and look, if they're set to private, which I didn't know was possible, but if you have your account set to private on your subscriptions, I can't see it. And once we hit 100, we're just going to go at 100. So if 70 of you don't have it, that means you're giving 30 people an even better chance at getting it. So make sure we can see it.
All right, so MLB trade deadline passes, and look, there were a lot more moves than I thought were going to happen. I thought we were going to have a dead trade deadline, and to our guest hosts' credit, Wayne G, who isn't really a big baseball guy, he said he thought it was going to be busy, and he was right. A lot more moves than I thought. So, who are your winners of this trade deadline?
I mean, the obvious winner to me is the San Diego Padres. Look, they were doing what you and I shocked the world. And anyone that says they were on the San Diego Padres train are so full of crap. You and I are the only ones on record that can take credit. We both picked them to win that division. And heck, even with the Dodgers being the best team in baseball, they still can do that. They can still clearly do that with how good they're playing.
And the Dodgers didn't need to do much, but they didn't do much. And San Diego really caught up to them after this trade deadline.
Well, not only are they winners because they just went out, they got easily the best closer that was on the market for trade and Trevor Rosenthal. They got the pitcher from Cleveland. They got Mitch Moreland from Boston, who, trust me, as a Boston fan, that guy can, when he wants to, he'll go in there and all of a sudden get you 2 for 4 with 2 dingers. Like they went and insured, but every single piece they got may have been in trade for
their backup catcher that they went and picked up in Jason Castro.
Yeah, Jason
exactly. Castro is a really good pickup for them.
Yep.
And so, look, the Padres definitely won.
They didn't have to give up. They didn't have to give up a lot. They gave up their top prospects, but they're not even top 100 prospects.
Look, I think teams like the Reds were winners in this trade deadline when they went out and solidified, with Archie Bradley. And then they went out, and I said this a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you remember, but I said I really like that kid from the Angels, Brian Goodwin.
Yep.
And the Reds went out and got him.
Yep.
And look, the Reds are going to probably end up in that second place spot in their division, which automatically qualifies them for the playoffs. And so, the Reds were winners. I think the Cubs got better. I was a big.
They got relief.
Yeah, I was happy with Jose Martinez, who's actually up to bat right now against Pittsburgh. That guy just mashes left-handed hitting. And then they went out and got Cameron Maybin, who solidifies their center field position. They needed a center fielder who could hit and play defensively, and they just don't have that. They have Ian Happ who can hit but can't play defense, and then they had Albert Almora Jr. who they ended up sending down to Double-A, who could really play defense. The kid's a stud in the outfield, but he can't hit to save his life.
Yeah,
and they added Maben, and then they added 2 left-handed pitching, which they were really need of.
That's the more important part. Not to say that the other 2 pieces aren't going to be good for them, but we've already said if it wasn't for the Phillies that have what was on history so far, it's the worst ERA statistically in the history of baseball. The Cubs would have it. They just have been terrible in the bullpen aspect. It's right now their Achilles heel, and they went out and got focused on what that was, and they went out and got some arms, and it was good for them.
And nobody's talking about it, man, but the A's, who have one of the best records of baseball right behind the Dodgers, went out and got Mike Minor from Texas.
Yep,
and
that was a big pickup.
That was a huge thing to solidify the back end of their rotation, and they got better, and they didn't need to. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So look, the A's did good things. Nobody's talking about that.
Well, I think it's good that the A's did that because we've always known the A's to be a good team. They're always competent. They're always either a wild card or AL West winner type team, but they never go out and get those players. Very rarely. They got the John Lester in that one year and stuff like that, but normally they don't do that. And then when they get to the playoffs, the added pieces that the other teams they play against end up being the things that killed them. And this year they said, no, we're going to go out and let's make it just a little bit better. Yeah. So they were a winner too.
Yeah, absolutely. My losers, man, look, the Yankees are big losers, the Astros, the Braves, and for me, the Indians. I think all 4 of those teams are losers in this trade deadline. The Yankees did nothing. And that's a team that is now finding themselves 4.5 games out of their division. Can they come back? Yes. Do they have the names and the talent on paper to do so? Absolutely. But the Yankees just are not putting it together right now.
Well, I think their thought process is that these names that are injured right now, when they come back, those are your free agent pickups. But I don't disagree with you, but I think that might have been part of their thought process in that. But like you said, they're second place in the AL East, and that gap is growing where the Rays, who are right now are top, to me, if we redid the power rankings, they're top 3 in baseball. They're just with 9 pitchers down, they're still just out there absolutely mashing it and doing the things the Yankees aren't doing. But, their thought process, I think, is they get those injuries, people back. I think the even bigger loser, even though they're the best team in baseball, to me is the Dodgers, because you're watching this Padres team excite young fans, get people pumped. You came out to the best start of your team's history, and the Padres are right behind you. And they were like, yep, we're coming after you. And that's like you sitting on a wall and watching another, company build their wall taller than yours and just going, we've got this.
The Padres needed to do that to get better. The Dodgers didn't need to do anything to get better. The Dodgers are already really, really good. They don't have to. They're going to keep competing, and they're going to be – maybe the Padres will catch them. Maybe the Padres will pass them. I doubt it. But they could. And the way that the Dodgers are playing right now, they just didn't need to make any moves. They just didn't. They're not like the Yankees, Astros, and Braves and Indians did. The Braves are probably going to win the division, but they're in a tight one. I mean, every team in that division is still within 5 games, and they're in the race.
Yeah,
you got the Astros, who are in second place. I don't think that they're going to go. They're not catching Oakland, and they didn't do anything either.
I don't think they want to. Like you and I were talking before the show here, first with the Braves. I mean, you're talking about a team that I predicted winning the World Series, and I still think they have that ability. But they it seems like they're running a marathon, and they're halfway through, and you see them taking some really deep breaths. Like, okay, we're going to get to the finish line. But man, it's going to be hard, and they should have. They should have gotten a piece or two. I still think they're one of the league's best teams, but they should have gotten a piece or two while they're in this situation. And I said to you before, I understand the thought processes that the Astros are the losers. I think the difference between you and me, the way we look at it, is that the Astros, I said, were going to still be a good team. I still put them in my Power 5 at the start of the season. I thought they were still as good, even with the cheating scandal. Not at that good, but I said about a 10, 12 game difference. And yeah, they're probably not going to catch Oakland, but remember, with the new seeding aspect, they just need second place. And I think their thought process is, we're going to prove to the league that we can still do this. Because if you go out and get help, and let's say all of a sudden they light on fire and they pass Oakland, everyone's going to go, well, yeah, well, screw them. Of course they did, because they couldn't even win with the team they had. They had to go get someone else, which, even though it's fair, it's just another form of cheating. Like, that's the way people would say it. I think the focus for the Houston Astros is, we're going to take the team we've got that everyone hates us, and our goal is, we'll be the bad guys, but we're going to go out there and do it. We're going to get to the playoffs with this team. Which I think they will. But
you want to hear the bad dad joke of the day for baseball?
Oh, man, here we go.
The way he's playing right now, the Astros probably could have traded Jose Altuve for somebody else's garbage can. But anyway, hey, look. So we got it down here where I wanted to get to. Did anyone do enough to pass the Dodgers? And so, we were talking before the show about the new playoff format, in which neither one of us really knew about the new playoff format until recently. I learned more about it about a week and a half ago when I was looking into it. And Supas, you just recently learned about it.
I heard it yesterday on Sports Radio Talk. They were just like, "Whoa, with this new playoff seeding with two teams each," I was like, "This guy's on crack." Nope, I am.
The question to it: did anybody do enough to catch the Dodgers? To me, the answer is maybe the Padres, but did anybody really, with the new playoff format, need to do much? I think that the Reds, if you go in to LA, and now that's the other thing, is that all three games in that first round will be played at the higher seeded team's home. There is no travel. It's 3 straight days, and you're playing at the other team, the higher seed's home. The Reds go in there with, Mike Leake versus, who's their ace over there right now for the Dodgers?
I'm going to let
Kershaw,
I was going to say, I can't believe you don't.
Well, no, I don't think Kershaw would be their game one starter. I mean, Walker Buehler is probably going to be their game one starter.
No, Kershaw will still be their number one starter.
Okay, so
it doesn't matter record wise. He's their ace.
Right, and if the Reds can go out and sneak one as the 8th seed and win that first game in a best of 3 series,
put the pressure on him.
You're already up. So
Kershaw's amazing in the playoffs. Why would you think that would happen?
Yeah. And to me, the first time in a long time, I think that baseball is where hockey is at, where anybody's got a chance to upset anybody in that first round. It's a best of 3 series. You go in and you have a bad weekend, and you go up against a team that's hot and has a great weekend, you're done.
That's it.
And all you have to do is lose 2. It's not like you get a 7-game series where the other team has to win 4. All you have to do is lose 2, and you're done. So if you get upset in game 1, your back is already against the wall. You have no choice but to win the next 2.
Yep.
So I think that what baseball is doing here for this season only is good. I like the idea of for this season having the 8 teams. I don't like it moving forward, though.
I don't like it. I don't even like it for this year. Not saying that if you want to put 8 teams in, that's a bad thing per se because of this year's anomaly. But I still don't like the whole 2 teams from each division thing, because you and I were talking before the show. That's going to put some team record-wise somehow outside that should be going in, because the whole 2-team thing, depending on the division. Like, technically right now, the Cardinals then get in the playoffs, and they're not a 500 team, or they're right at 500, and there's going to be a team or 2 over 500 that don't get in that aspect. It might even out. It might be just fine. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't think that I don't think there's an award. There should be an award because you got second place in the division. I think the award is you win your division, and then if you want to do a best of the rest to do 5 teams behind it based on record just for this 1 year, go for it. I just wish they hadn't done the 2-team thing. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, look, 8 teams, that's more than half of your teams from each.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's a lot. I don't think that should be a thing. But for the shortened season, for the COVID season, for these guys, and I mentioned this to you before the show too, maybe it's just baseball's way of saying, hey, look, we know, you guys are making sacrifices to come and play. Maybe, we're going to give you guys more chance to make some of that playoff bonus money.
I was going to say it's a money thing too for
them. Yeah,
it's for baseball and the players. So.
Right, absolutely. And this year, I think more so for the players because the owners aren't going to make as much off of it as the players are going to this year.
Well, what they're looking at is here's the concept that I think they're looking at is whether or not they go with the 2 teams from each division thing. But I think MLB is trying to with this format as they saw the success in not only the bubble with some other leagues, but as you were saying, the NHL. Attaboy, Allen. But I think with the aspect of what they're trying to do, they've got to do something. We've talked about this. If they don't, this is going to be the fourth sport in this country in about 5 years if they don't do something. So I think they're trying to find a way to keep things excited and unique. And let's admit it. When they admitted the one game with the 7th team in, there were a lot of people, including me in baseball, was like, that's dumb. Why are you doing that? And yet that one game series, everyone loves it, and the ratings are great for them. So I think they're looking at, hey, 3-game series, build some excitement. You get them in. I think they're just trying to test that out. So though it might not be the owners making money this year, I think they're trying to test this out because then if you create a lot of buzz and excitement, and let's say these ratings go through the roof for them, well, then the owners know they'll reap the benefits if they shift to this type of format where they get more TV revenue in the future.
So do you think that if it's a big hit and if the fans take to it and if their ratings are better because of the additional guy, do you think that this just becomes the new playoff format for MLB moving forward?
I think it's something close to it. I don't know if the 2-team per division will necessarily be the way.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think in my brain how you could do it differently and still have 8 teams from each.
What if you go back to the old school? Remember where it was National League East and National League West and then American League East and American League West and you take the top 4 from each division?
I don't think with the aspect I mean,
because it used to be East and West, and then they would take one team from each division, and then they would just do the CS and then go straight to the World Series.
The goal with the smaller division aspect is you have the minimum face-to-face games that these division teams play, and let's talk about it. I say Cardinals, you lose your mind. You bring up the Yankees, and I say how much they suck. That's the whole point. You create stronger rivalries that hold the sport at least together in that aspect. So not every division has it, but if you ask certain fans in a division where you think that's not Red Sox Yankees, that's not Cubs Cardinals, they're still going to say, I can't stand that team in our division. And if you spread them back out, I think you water that down just a little bit. So I don't think so, but I really do think that they're hiding the semblance of, hey, this is an off year. You'll get more checks as a way of really testing, like, do we need an 8-team format? And let's think about it this way. Let's think big picture, because we talk about, hey, if they keep this up in 5 years, they're going to be the 4th team. They're going to be behind the NHL, right?
Yeah.
If it's the opposite and it does really good, well, we talked about it. 8 teams from each, it's more than half. They got 30 teams. Well, there's a lot of cities that if the baseball starts going the opposite way and starts getting enjoyable again, they start making some changes. Hey, you got 2 expansion teams. You get to your 32 and you get at least half of the playoff seeds. Of course, you and I are people that aren't big on half your league going in, but it's what gets people to watch. And like I said, I hated the 7th team getting in, and yet I haven't missed a single one of those 1-game playoff games, and they're awesome. They're fantastic.
Yeah. And then you look at it to the point where you could get those years where you've got, like, even this year in the National League, you're going to have teams that are under 500 fighting to get into the playoffs. I hate hearing the words under 500 in playoffs in any sport. Yeah,
like NBA has it, and I hate it.
But you're gonna. So what if you get to one of those years where you end up with the entire, I don't know, say American League East in the playoffs? Because you had the Red Sox and the Yankees who were just tearing the world apart, and they finished top 2 in it. But then you had the Orioles and the Royals who had just unbelievable, seasons.
Royals aren't in the AL East. Come on, man.
Or I'm sorry,
Blue
Orioles
Jays.
and Blue Jays.
Orioles
and Blue Jays. Yeah. So if you go out there and you have all of those teams and they're all in, like, and 2 of them are under 500.
Yeah, that's where I think you get the watered down product. The only benefit of that is you create chatter with fans of being like, hey, oh, you think your team is good, but at least our whole division made it into the playoffs. Even the Orioles who suck got in the playoffs, like that type of talk. Or like this year, even the Red Sox that suck, man, they got in, and you couldn't get two teams in.
Take the American League Central this year. You have the White Sox and the Indians and the Twins, who are most certainly probably going to get in. And then the Tigers could sneak in there.
Yeah, exactly.
The Royals are probably a little bit too far back. I think that's why I said Royals earlier, because I was thinking about how good the Central is. If you go and you've got 4 teams from the American League Central, 3 of them were really, really good this year, and one was, they got hot here and there, but they were just subpar, and they're going to finish under 500.
Listen what we're talking about, though, here. What if we get all 5 teams, or what if we get 4 out of the 5 teams? It doesn't sound right. That's not playoffs. And I have this theory that it's why we as sports fans too start judging players differently and how good they are. It's the fantasy driven mindset. Yeah. Fantasy is one of the biggest things. It's almost as big as gambling straight off that there is. And it's created a mind shift in fans. That's why NFL Red Zone is just amazing, because it's like, give me my fantasy stats. Give me my fantasy stats. So I saw that guy score a touchdown. He's amazing, even though it's a 2-yard out and he didn't catch anything the whole drive. That's our mindset. And so I really feel that as fantasy has driven the value of where most fantasy leagues, half of your teams are in the playoffs. Sometimes, like I've been in 12 team leagues where 8 teams get in the playoffs. And it's like, what the heck? But that's the way things are. And if you put that in baseball and you have 1-game series and then 3-game series, and they're just super exciting, and you have a team that's the 8th team and they win the 1-game series and find a way to upset 2 out of 3, and you get that city all of a sudden excited. I mean, it's good for the game. It's good for the game, and baseball needs something like this. So let's put it this way. I think that's the only reason why I'm okay with them testing it, because baseball needs it. But I just hate the thought of some under like a 465 average winning percentage team getting in the playoffs. Like I don't know. I just don't like that. But baseball needs something. They got to do something.
Yeah. So now, knowing the new playoff format, do you change your opinion on who you think is going to the World Series?
I mean, because of the struggles that they're having right now, it would be easy for me to be like, oh, no, I don't put the Braves and the Twins. But I still have the Braves and Twins, even though the playoff format system, just because of the fact that I think they're built with a team mentality that I like more. You see it with a team like the Yankees. When you go out there and you're crushing balls, it's not as good. Now, the Dodgers and the Padres are making the Braves look like nothing in that aspect. And your Cubs are the same record as them, and you're not even happy with your Cubs.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. I think teams like, if you look at teams like the White Sox, the teams like the Cubs, I think I like them better in a shorter series than I do in a longer series.
Yeah,
I like a 3-game series where the Cubs are throwing out.
Now, is it 3-game series throughout the whole playoffs?
No. It's 3-game series for the first round.
Okay, so see, I get that aspect, but as long as the Twins and the Braves can get through that 3-game series, and they're built for the longer series where they're the more unique team. But that's the thing; they got to get in, and they got to beat that 3-game series. That's what I'm
getting to. I mean, you get teams like I was saying, like the Cubs who have Darvish, who looks like he could be a Cy Young candidate this year, and you've got God damn it, why do I keep doing this on names? But you got Darvish and you got Hendricks. That's the name I was thinking of. Going in 2 of the 3 games, and then in game 3 you have fucking John Lester. You know what I mean? So
Johnny Mo, say it right, baby. I've taught you this. It's Johnny Mo.
And then you look at the White Sox, who have Keuchel and they have Giolito. So look, I think that teams are better suited. There are some teams that are better suited for short series than our long series, and some of those teams that are better suited for long series might not get to the long series. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
But my preseason pick still has 2 teams that are still in the hunt, and I think it'd be a bitch move to back out of it. So No, I'm still sticking with
I
Braves.
think that's your way of
Part of it-
saying I only have one team left still in it, but hey.
No, I didn't
Whatever.
say it. You said it, man. I actually wasn't going to rag on you. I was actually just trying to say I'm not going to bitch out.
All right.
Well, hey, if the MLB keeps going this way, the Angels will get in. Maybe they get a pity seed, and then who knows?
All right.
They would only lose 2 games by combined 15 runs instead of 30 runs if they got hot.
All right. So we are going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we are going to get into something that is going to stab Soup Boss in the heart, and that is the NHL playoffs. So we'll be back here in just a short moment.
Told me go to hell. So if the love lost between us, thought it nowhere. 'Cause I love who I am. 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 I love who I am, and I ain't changing it for name. This ain't about no ego. This one here for me though. Sometimes you gotta put your needs beneath of other people. But how come that's so hard for me? It's like I got no heart for me. Stuff the pain, suffocate. Damn, I swear I'm hardly breathing. Tired of being number 2 to everybody else that is taking a toll on my mental health. Why am I so loyal to these songs who left me on the shelf? Why do I care what these people think when they don't think of me? Tell them that I got no pot to piss and they just piss on me. See, the class in session finally cause we history. Hit the math, our partners leaves a fifth for me. 20% when I do 80 out of work. Plus waiting 10 days since the day of my birth. I don't know what you're smoking, let me make it simple for you. Easy as a layup. Payer. And please don't think I'm joking, let me paint the picture for you. You gon' take a pay cut. Straight. You left me for
All right, that was our boy Mises there. I've been working on getting him in here for an interview. So that would be pretty cool. Get Mises on with us and talk about some of his music. Definitely talk about his message that he has.
With his last song that he dropped, though, we'd probably have some people not thrilled with that because political year, yay!
Yeah, but you know what? There wasn't anything that he said in there that wasn't true. So. Look, I say what you want. I'm all about truth. I'm all about honesty. Politics or not, look, I look at both sides of the fence. And the guy that we have running the country right now in Donald Trump, there are a lot of things that I don't like about him. There are a lot of things I disagree with. But he has done some good things. And you may disagree, but
anyone that fully agrees with any president 100% of the time, you are not being honest with yourself. It's okay to say, I like X, Y, Z, and it outweighs my dislikes, but I do have dislikes. That's where we've changed, and we're going off track. But that's the thing that drives me nuts when people are like, well, I don't like that. I won't vote for Donald Trump because I don't like what he's doing on Twitter. I'm like, okay, what else don't you like? Well, he's just mean. That's not that.
Yeah.
It's okay to have something you don't like about every single president or elected official because we're human beings. There's a lot of stuff that I know that you don't like about me, but that's okay. I came back as a free agent. I'm good.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Pretty much the 4 heads that are in your background.
Hey, man.
But let's get to that.
I had to make sure. Hold on.
I mean, you've got.
I got to cut out the bear and put Lucky in there. There we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got one team still left alive.
Hey,
you got one team still left alive. So the NHL playoffs continued, and
hey, man, they're statistically still in this. They still.
Were you drinking with Jared last night?
No, I'm just drinking right now.
Yeah.
So, what a sad season.
The Boston Bruins lost last night to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they lost in double overtime.
Yep.
It was a good game all the way through. The Bruins fought. The Bruins, look, they went at this series with their second string goalie. They I mean, they're still a good hockey team. They still got a good future ahead of them. It's just they ran into a really, really good Tampa Bay Lightning team who had their starting goalie, and their starting goalie was on fire.
No, that's what I was going to bring up. They put, I think it was 51 shots to Tampa Bay's 33. And for a while, Tampa Bay was sitting around 21 shots when the Bruins were in the 40s. It just outshot him. And people would go, whoa, Chara is terrible. He was +1. I mean, and I know like people are like, well, he's got to get covered on and everything like that. But if he was so bad, he would have been in the minus.
Thank you, Mark.
Go Cubbies. The team is still there, but there's some things they can still come back, but you're gonna have to deal with the Tuukka aspect, figure out where his head's at and what he wants to do. And I think no matter what Tuukka wants to do, even if it's coming back, you got to go get yourself a good goalie that almost can fight with him in camp. And you got to go get another defenseman, because as much as I kind of I fight off some of the Char haters, he is old. And I think he'll play another season. I really do. But so you need to give Charlie McAvoy some ability to not cover for Dad on the other side of the ice. And the Bergeron line, man, they're still one of the best lines in all of hockey. But Bergeron's going to be 36, I think, or a little bit younger. But Marchand's going to be 35. Like, they're getting older. Like, you've got to be smart. You still have enough. You still have 80% of this team, 80-85% that can still get you to the Stanley Cup. So you can't let it go.
You're dead set. You believe Chara's coming back, don't you?
I do.
Junior comes in and says, "I'm gonna miss Chara," and I think that's the sentiment with a lot of Bruins fans, is that they think that Chara's done. Chara's not coming back, and he's slowed down. He's definitely on the decline. He's getting older. He's not getting younger. He's getting slower. He's not getting faster. So maybe it would be a good time for him to step down.
What people miss is that I get it. He's slower. But what people are missing is that a lot of the times what they do, outside of when Charlie's got to come across and cover on him on when he's slow, is his ability in front of the net is just still impeccable. The amount of shots that he saved off for Tuukka and Halak was just amazing with his stick and everything. Like, he's still super smart. You just have to utilize that in a different way. Yeah. And what I really think is the Bruins brass needs to sit down with him and go, Chara, listen, Big Z, you're still the leader in this clubhouse. We love you, but we can't put you out there and burn Charlie out. We're going to go get this defenseman. We're going to pair him up with Charlie on that line, but you're going to be on our 2 line. You're also going to still be the spirit animal. We want you to be able to step in when we need to give Charlie or this other guy a rest. You can teach them, mold them, everything like that. But I think they're going to have to shift. Instead of looking at him as he's the top defender, bring him down a step. It's going to hurt his ego a little bit. But Big Z is not a guy with a big ego. I think if he knows that Boston will stay with him for at least another year, he'll make that move if they've got a defenseman that can stick next to Charlie. Because Charlie got exhausted. I mean, he was having to go from end to end of ice to cover on Big Z when he missed some hip checks and everything like that. But no, I think he's back. I think he comes back for another year.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite end of that spectrum. I think it's time for Chara to walk away, and if he doesn't, hey, look, that's his decision. But it's getting harder and harder to watch, a guy that used to dominate the league defensively be at a place where he's at now. And
I'm telling you, man, he dominated the line. Now he dominates in front of the goal. Yeah, I'll still take that. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean he can't play. It just doesn't mean that he's stopping you at the line. It means that you give the offense a chance to dive into the zone a little bit more. But he's huge in front of the net. Absolutely huge.
Sorry, Mark. That was Finn. So that was my nephew Finn, who is. I told you last week I broke his heart when I said the Sox were better than the Cubs right now. And as I say that, Baez hit a triple and scored Bryant from first, and now Kyle Schwarber just cleaned him up with a 2-run bomb. So the Cubs are up big, 6-1 on the Pirates right now.
Oh, they're killing the Pirates. Good. Yeah. Thank goodness for that. Listen.
The teams you're supposed to be.
I know. I say it all the time. Right now? I say that all the time. I say it to you all the time, but I don't sit here and brag about it. Well, they're killing the Pirates. That's
Could the
like,
Red-
no
could the Red
offense,
Sox kill
you
the
better
Pirates?
be throwing no hitters against the damn White Sox. I'd give the Red Sox 2 games out of 3 against the Pirates. Are you kidding me?
Congratulations.
Yeah, but I don't sit here and
Battle of
brag about it. Oh, Lord, they're killing. You should be looking at it as
I was
they're
bragging. I
being-
was talking about sports. That's what we
No,
do.
look how much. No, they're killed. They got this many runs. They're killing it.
All right.
You should
but
just
anyway,
go. They're beating up the lowly Pirates. Good for them.
Anyway, Finney is a 9-year-old who absolutely loves the game of baseball.
Good.
I went out there and practiced with him and his brothers this past weekend, and man, those kids can play some ball. I'll tell you that much. But Strikeout Beer says, "Yo, what's going on, Strikeout Beer? Rapid Dave, what's going on? Man, look, I don't know. Have you ever catch that? Do you catch that guy? I know you work, during the day and you don't get on Facebook a whole lot. But he comes on and he throws on Facebook and goes and plays Fortnite. And dude, he cracks me up. It kills me to watch him because I'm at work and I just want to go play Fortnite at that point. But he starts screaming and starts yelling, dude. It cracks me up. I absolutely love watching that guy play some Fortnite, man.
The only thing I can watch is things that I don't have to really lose my attention on. So I end up actually watching a lot of Rhett and Link at work, but that's just because it's background noise. I put headphones in, and to be honest with you, I'm not actually a big people person, even though I work in human resources, so I don't like to talk to people, so I try to ignore them.
Junior says, I've seen a lot of nasty goals, but that Pasternak that was a nasty.
Well, that goal was nasty, but did you see the assist to set it up? That no-look pass? That's why I'm saying, like, they still have the pieces. Like, I know this is a disappointment how it ended, but they went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year. They're into Game 7. They ran up against a Lightning team that just all of a sudden after that Game 2 overtime clicked. But they still got it. They just got to go and I would rather be the general manager of the Boston Bruins right now than 90% of the teams in NHL. Like, it's not a bad issue to have.
Bruins than the Rangers, or
exactly. Like, I'm not too stressed with it.
So off the Bruins, and let's get to the Dallas is on the verge of upsetting the Avalanche, and Vegas continues to dominate over Vancouver. Look, Dallas is surprised me. The Avalanche whooped on them last night, though. And do you think the Avalanche can force this to 7?
I think they can, because this series is not a series that's been dominated by Dallas. This is a series that's been dominated by one team each game. Like, It's like they're literally coming out and one team's tying their hand behind their back and the other team has got bare knuckles and just one shot right in the face, and then that's it for the rest of the game. Like, that's
Colorado
literally
was
how the
fighting
series
for their lives last night, and they showed it, man. And
it
looked really good yesterday. Vegas, it looks like they are going to just.
Told you, man.
I mean, this series is over probably tonight. And look,
Vegas has the most underappreciated superstars in all of NHL. Their lines, chemistry. They're the most silent team right now, where you can hear the players. I've watched a couple of their games. You don't hear them yelling to each other. And they are just no-look passing, good curl behind the back of the net, centering pass that goes straight out to the wing if necessary, so it's not just stuffed right away. But, like, they don't talk. Like, but people just don't know their names, and that's hard enough when in hockey – not a lot of the players are known anyways. And I told you, man, I know you picked the Avs, but the Knights are just, to me, the most far superior team, not only in the West, but I think they may be the most superior team in hockey this year. This may be their year to lift that cup. So, and their long history of battles as the Vegas Knights.
Speaking of teams who've had long battles in the history of their organization, the Islanders, man. The Islanders are on the brink of the Eastern Conference Finals, something they haven't played in since 1993.
Which feels like 1946.
Yeah, and they look really good right now in the East.
Team hockey.
Can they upset Tampa Bay?
No. Listen, I like team hockey, and I like the team aspect when I pick the Braves and Twins, and I tell it all the time, you got to be all complete as a team. And I think against the Tampa Bay, they'll do better than the Bruins. But look at what the Bruins did in a couple of those losses, even with their backup goalie. Halak was playing out of his mind out of a couple. Once he got in, it's funny. I told you he needs to get into rhythm. They need to cover for him. And once he got into rhythm, it almost seemed to be the opposite. He was playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
And then the Bruins were going nuts on shots. And just, if the Islanders are smart in how they watch that, maybe get an extra pass in here or there. That's what good team chemistry does. But I mean, even with all those shots the Bruins were getting off, they were getting off quick one-timers because they couldn't get the Lightning were doing a great job of closing up your backup lanes. And when you do that, you give a team a first shot opportunity. But if your goalie's on like theirs is, I think the Islanders. I think the Lightning. If the Islanders go against them, kudos to them. It'll be a good series, but I think the Lightning win it 4-2.
I would say the Islanders have a chance if they prolong their series. So if this was a 7-game series and Tampa Bay was sitting, I always like a team coming out of the gate after playing a long series and being hot and riding that high into the next series and taking the first couple of games. But, if they go out there and end this thing quick, and then they go in and just run into a hot Tampa Bay team, I'm with you. I don't think they have a chance to upset Tampa Bay.
No.
It's been a fun run to watch anyway.
The
Islanders are a good team, man. They're going to be good for a little while too. They've got some really good young talent over there, so they're going to be fun to watch for sure.
And if they do happen to upset the Lightning, you're going to have people that haven't tuned into hockey for a long time because of just the Rangers and the Islanders not being there, New York being such a big city. And they've got the Yankees going, but the Mets are disappointing. So if they go in, you're going to have, the city of New York just rallying behind either Dallas or Denver or Las Vegas, who are all three better, quote unquote, teams than the Islanders. But you could really have just some momentum shift, and we could see that LA Kings story that we got what was it, 7-8 years ago.
Last season when Columbus made that huge surprise sweeping the Lightning, you had to at least give thought on how good Tampa was going to come back. No, Tampa is a good team. I mean, look, hockey every year, and we've talked about this a bunch, every year any team can win in hockey. And so when you lose more than in any other sport, when you lose, I don't think it takes as much out of your sail as it does in other sports in hockey. Because in hockey, yes, you're disappointed you lost, but look, any team can win at any time. You run into a hot goalie, you run into a hot goalie.
Did its comment mean that we should have thought that even though they lost, that they would be able to come back? I've read his comment differently than you, because I fully, even though they got swept by Columbus, I said, well, the Lightning will be back next year. This team's too damn good to not be back. Even with that, I mean, that last year was literally just when you finally get a franchise to just it was the Lamar Jackson syndrome. Yep. You finally got your team to be something. You've got all the stars are aligning, and they got way too relaxed, and Columbus had nothing to lose. And so that was the difference. What you saw in the Lightning in this series with the Bruins, they lost game 1. And when that game 2 went to overtime, I think the Lightning team, instead of just being like, hey, we're a better team, they said, we either win this and march on, or we're screwed. We're going to screw ourselves again. And I do think that if the Bruins had won game 2, I think they have a chance to win this series, because that deflates a team. That would deflate your goalie, and all the stops he was making, especially in game 5 there. I think that you don't have that same confidence. So, no, they're too good of a team, though.
Can that happen in Tampa Bay two years in a row, though?
What have that same situation?
Where they just dispatched the Bruins. The Bruins were seen as the favorites heading into the bubble, and now you just beat them, and maybe now you're
no, they're not going to relax. No, because that was a redemption for them in the aspect of the Bruins have slightly had their number. There's a bit of a rivalry growing between those two teams, which I like on a physical level. They fought a lot. That was a hard-fought victory, but it was their way of proving, okay, we're legit. Now we're going to go take care of business, because last year it was, we're the best. It was an ego-driven, like, we're the best, President's Cup. There's no team that can touch us, because that's what people were saying last year about them. No one's going to beat this Tampa Bay team. Are you seeing what they're doing? They're unstoppable. 4-game sweep. Yeah. Now it's different. We're going to go out and prove that team last year was that. So they don't have the last series to look at. They're still saying from last year. We're going to prove last year was not a fluke. So that's why I still just, hey, it would be great to see the story if the Islanders get in. But if the Islanders win and face them, the Lightning, I think, are going to take that series.
Junior really goes out on a limb here.
Yeah.
Goes out on a limb and picks the two favorites to go into the finals.
Well, I'm right with you there,
Captain Obvious. that's my boy.
Come out here on the 35-foot thick limb with me, where it's there's absolutely no risk. So, but I mean that's my pick too.
Where you're over a calm stream and you have
with a net,
with a net below you. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're gonna take another quick break, and then when we come back, we are going to get into some NFL talk, and boy, do we have some to talk about, man, because
let's go, baby.
There have been some crazy going-ons in Jacksonville. So,
and by the way, single digits, 9 days to go till we get football, baby.
I thought it was the 13th.
It's next week, Thursday. That's 9 days, baby.
Oh, we're starting the Thursday game. Okay.
Yeah, Kansas City, Houston.
Perfect. Can't wait, man. 9 days sounds a lot better than the 12 I was thinking.
There you go, baby.
All right, so we'll be right back, guys.
See me right now, through all the smoke. Plus I'm caught my feelings right now. I'm losing hope. So I hope you take this serious now. Cause if you don't, I won't be around for you to hear you from now. God, I thought we were past this. Conversations all past tense. About to kill myself, is that tense. Sick inside, I can't mask this. I don't care what it do, hurt you or trade my evil for your evil. Cause hurt people gon' hurt people, then turn around and say you're evil.
All right, guys, that was Mises with Humanity. Mises, man, look, I can't get enough of that guy.
No kidding, man. No, I'm not trying to make it awkward, but I kind of need to. Hey, you go okay? Like it sounds like my love for Minshew. You gotta, do you not stand up on camera? Like,
I'll stop it.
I love it. Don't get me wrong. Mises is probably watching this right now. Like I was gonna maybe go on that. Guy with the beard's an asshole. Forget that.
No, he'd come on and rock his beard and put yours to shame.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
That's true.
So we got some NFL talk to get to, guys. Look, I don't know about you, Soup, but Jacksonville is starting to look like the AFC version of the Washington not Redskins anymore.
No.
Because this team is – all right, how about this? How about the Miami Marlins of football?
You give me your view, and I'll give you why I disagree with you, and I'm not. Maybe it shifts a game or two in my prediction, but I actually don't agree, and I'll explain why. But
so you get rid of Ngakoue. That was the first one.
Yep.
You get rid of him. I mean, that's 14, 15 sacks you're giving up right there. You give up, and now you release Leonard Fournette. You just released him. You didn't even trade him. You didn't get nothing for him. You said
couldn't even get a fifth or a sixth or a seventh.
Yeah. And to me, there has to be something deeper to that story because you don't release a talent like a Leonard Fournette to just release him and not get anything in return. So I'm wondering if maybe there's something in the locker room, a difference of philosophy with the coach, whatever the case is.
Well, if there's no team that would even give him a 7th round draft pick, and then he didn't get claimed off waivers today. I think there's more behind it behind the player.
Why would you give – look at me. Why would you give
– look at me.
A team right here. Why would you give a team a 5th, a 6th, a 7th round draft pick if you know that if they're trying to trade them and they can't, they release them? And then why would you claim them off waivers if you have to give them a 2nd round or a 3rd round pick? Whatever it was, they had to give up a pick if they were going to claim them off.
Why would you give up a 7th round draft pick, which go around like free candy, and you don't end up having people? Are you kidding me? A guy that though is not your perennial all-star running back that has the amount of yards.
You don't have to, and you know that
because you have to bid against 31 other potential, 30 potential teams now, as opposed to I only have to give up a 7th round draft pick. Just me alone. But if I do that, I'll get a player.
You're missing the point.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you were. They were going to have to give up a pick plus pay him $4.4 million. Now you go sign him as a free agent, and you can restructure that deal. You can say, yeah, we're going to give you whatever the number is, $12 million over the next 3 or 4 years, but this year we're only going to give you 1.8 of it because that's what we have in our cap.
Do you understand what
your deal?
How many times do you watch sports, man? How many times do teams do a trade? Ngakoue was a perfect example. The first guy you talked about, which, by the way, they were never planning to have him play this season anyway. So even when I did my prediction, it was him off the team. He was a distraction. They did not like the aspect of what he was doing for a distraction. But what did they do? They agreed to a trade, and in the aspect of agreeing to a trade, they already had a restructured contract ready to go. Any team that would have actually talked to the Jaguars and said, yeah, we'll give you a 6th round draft pick, which half the time we don't keep those players off the draft anyways, but we're going to have to talk to Fournette about his contract. Of course they can do that. It is not about that aspect. Right now you have to bid against 30 other teams. Fournette is not going to turn around outside of teams not taking him. He's not going to take a Cam Newton deal unless there's literally no one who wants him, which is the only thing that makes me question if there's more behind it in terms of who he is, because the fact that no one would say, I'll give you a 6th round draft pick, but you need to let us talk to him about his contract situation, that's sketchy to me in that aspect. How are you going to say that you would do that for Ngakoue but not for Fournette? That's literally what happened, man, with Ngakoue with Minnesota. That happens all the time.
Ngakoue is different. Look, a guy like Ngakoue is different than a running back. The NFL views running back now like expendable pieces. Right, they don't view the running back position like they do generational talent at defensive end. They just don't. They don't do that anymore. The running back position is not valued as highly as any other position. They feel like, yes, Leonard Fournette will improve your run game. Like, for me, if I'm the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm running full steam. Steam.
So if you were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so to go back to your first point, which I'm still just baffled by, right now in this moment, you have to compete against potentially 30 other teams. If you're a salesman, good salesmen can sell shit. Bad salesmen can't sell gold. If you are, when he is with the Jaguars, a good salesman, if you were the Buccaneers, why aren't you saying, we'll give you a 6th round draft pick, but we need to talk about the contract? Because right now you still have to talk about a contract. That makes no sense to me because you get exclusive ability if the Jaguars go, we'll take your 6th round pick, let's go talk to Fournette, and we'll make this work. You get exclusive rights to at least talk. So then even if you back off, that's fine. But the Jaguars said that they couldn't even get a 5th, 6th, or 7th, which to me means there's no one that even wanted to exclusively have the right to talk to them for that ability.
Look at it from a whole. Maybe they told Fournette, yeah, look, we're going to trade you. And maybe they had a difference of opinion, and maybe that's why they ended up parting ways with him. But maybe he said, look, I know you're going to trade me, but I'm not talking about my contract. I'm not going to give you that option of bettering your team at my expense.
Then that would fit the narrative that there was more going on with him personally, as opposed to. But you made it out like the decision was with teams saying, why would they bother to do that? That's a foolish statement, in my opinion. Why would you bother to offer a 6th round pick so you can get the exclusive ability to talk to him about a contract that if he then says no, you just pull out of the deal? That makes zero sense.
From a guy who says, go Cardinals, I will not worry about what you say is a foolish statement.
Yeah, well, it sucks when you get logic thrown at you and you got to kind of beat it back with Cardinals, buddy. Come on, man. Come on, you're better than that.
So why do you feel like this was a good move for the Jaguars then?
With everything we just talked about, there was something that's going on. If you would look at the 3 running backs, and I forgot I had my list of them, but you've got an 8-year journeyman running back, and then 2 guys that got less than 2 years experience, one with, I think it was eight total carries, and one guy with 35 total carries. If you are going to the extent that you're going to trust in those 3, and there's a reason for it. Like, if Leonard Fournette is half of the ass that you might think that he is, you would say, we'll deal with the half-ass attitude just to be able to compete. There's got to be a desire. The fact that they were like, we couldn't even get a 5th, 6th, 7th, they were willing to cut this guy that they drafted 4 years ago in the top of the league, who still, even with his underproduction and fantasy value stats as people like to go, was still a hell of a running back. You don't want him there. No team wants to even talk to you about 5th, 6th, 7th pick. To me, says there are some underlying things with Leonard Fournette that people are not talking about and aren't coming out that I think has to do with his character and his personality, to the point that people are just like, we're not touching that. And to me, it's always been my mentality that you can give me the superstar player all you want, but if they're the biggest a-hole on the face of the earth and they're a cancer internally, you're better putting role players in those positions that want to compete and will go out and give their blood, sweat, and tears every game. So I already, Ngakoue, didn't even have him on the team because the thought process, he was gone anyways. To me, with this aspect of Fournette, like I said, maybe it drops him a game or 2, but I actually see it as something where it can help this team bond and grow. I really do. That's just
all
me.
right. Hey, it's the same. That's the same ideology that I had with the Texans getting better without DeAndre Hopkins. You can get rid of a star and still be able to be better. What?
DeAndre Hopkins has never once been reported to be anything of an asshole.
No. I'm saying you can get rid of a guy and still rally around and get better. You can lose a Leonard Fournette or DeAndre Hopkins and still be better than you were.
No. Don't put those 2 in the same category. Cut that out. Like, my point was players that are divas and are cancers and are frustrations. Hopkins has never, ever been reported to be anything of a diva, cause frustration. I mean, look, it was literally stated that Bill O'Brien wouldn't even talk to him, and you never heard him ever complain about it or throw a fit about it or do what most NFL players in this league would do. He's not a cancer. There's a difference in that aspect. You took a non-cancerous player who's one of the...
That's what that was. You don't know that. That hasn't come out and said that that's what it was yet.
Are you kidding me? Last year, there was literally issues with him last year. They literally had locker room issues last year. They had so many problems with him. This is like you with Donovan Mitchell. You want to be able to talk the points, but you don't even know what's going on because you don't even pay attention to the Jaguars or what's going on. I'm a freaking Gardner Minshew. I roll. I'm the conductor of that damn Minshew train, baby. And now I pay attention to what goes on in Jacksonville. There were so many issues with him last year.
And now Minshew lost some of his biggest weapons. And so, yeah, good luck with that.
He's got that Minshew magic, baby.
They're fighting for that. I think they're taking for the I can't even remember, Trevor Lawrence. I think that's what they're doing right now, tanking for Trevor. That's what they're doing.
There's no team that's going to do worse than the Chargers, so I'm not worried about it.
All right, so the Giants signed Logan Ryan. Does that help them at all?
I didn't hear the question because all I heard was Logan Ryan, and I guess I'm supposed to be impressed with this. No, of course that helps them. Listen, Logan Ryan, not just because of I'm a Patriots fan and it's connected and everything like that. You don't come from what we saw with Tennessee, who is a stellar team that has stellar coaching, and you don't go there and not walk away with picking up something that makes you not only a better player, but ability to be a better leader, a mentor to other young players. He's got obviously the background with the Patriots and learning from Bill Belichick in that aspect too. In that defense, of course, it makes that team better. Does it make it where he's the showstopper on that team? No. But does it make him better in locker room presence and mentoring and skill set on the field to make some big plays, a la picking off Tom Brady for his last throw in Foxborough? Yeah, heck yeah, it does. So Sure, it makes him better. Do I think it makes him better enough where it adds a win or two on there? Yeah, maybe. It really depends on the ripple effect. How does he help the other players around them that are underdeveloped or not known become better? I think that's what it comes down to. And if he can do that quick enough where they do better, yeah, sure, give them a win or two more.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it's a good signing for them. I mean, a veteran guy who can go in and help the young guys and maybe help them win, like you said, one or two games. But it's still, they're the Giants. They're still, they're still fighting to see, if they can pick up Trevor Lawrence. Because I don't know. Are you a big believer in Daniel Jones?
No, absolutely not. Joshua Seavey, Daniel Jones is not a great quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. Listen, Daniel Jones. Do you know the story of Daniel Jones? Do you want to know why Daniel Jones was picked by the Giants? Because the owner of the Giants went to the Senior Bowl and watched him play for his 13 passes and was like, that guy looks pretty good. That's who I want us to sign. That was literally the reason why they went after Daniel Jones. A Senior Bowl 13 thorough assessment. That was it. Now, of course, I'm not dumb. I know. I know behind the scenes, obviously, then the scouts did their work and everything like that. But when you're the owner of the team, the guy whose money fuels people's 6-figure plus careers, 7-figure for players, and when coaches are like are up tossing up and trying to figure out, and he goes, "Yeah, we're going to draft that Daniel Jones guy." Probably you're going to go, "Yes, sir. Okay, that sounds good. We'll find a way to figure out, does he have the skill sets? If he's coached the right way, there's some good things about him, but there's also a lot of bad things about him." Joshua Seavey's all about the two quarterbacks down in New York. I'm sorry. But I'm not going to say his name because I can't stand the Jets, but I'll take the kid wearing green way before I take the boy in blue there in Giants land.
All right. So another running back who may not play. So we've already talked about Dalvin Cook. He may not play because contract extensions may hold out, all that other good stuff. And we feel like, the Vikings can still be good without him because of Mattson and how well he ran the ball last year in his absence.
And the kid they drafted.
Now the Saints have announced that Alvin Kamara has been absent from camp, and apparently that's due to contract negotiations. Do you feel like that Kamara has a bigger impact than Dalvin Cook?
Oh man, that's a great question, by the way. And we forgot to add that the news came out today that I think it's just a dance. I think it was just their way of saying your move, Alvin. But they said that they're interested in trading if they can't find anyone. Which you obviously don't say that saying we're interested in trading him in week 6. We've got 9 days until the season starts. So I think I don't think they really will. I think that's just them putting the fire back on Alvin. Like, you either show up and then talk to us face to face about this, and you work while we talk contract, or else. But to go back to your question, here's the thing with Alvin Kamara is that he is so important, but in that New Orleans system, and I'm not saying he's a system player, because I can't stand when people are like, well, these players are just systems because the system's good. You can have great players that get put into systems that make the system even just as much good or better. Alvin Kamara is a special player, but that New Orleans Saints system can work just fine without him. Not to say that he wouldn't be missed, but they'll find a way to make it work. Yeah. But he can go to a team like the Buccaneers, like the Jaguars, who still have a decent O-line, not the greatest, but a halfway decent O-line. Heck, like a New England Patriots, who now have the second most cap space this year and have the number 1 cap space free for the next 4 years after. He can go into systems like that and just absolutely tear it up. So I think it really depends on where he goes. If he goes into they've got their running backs, but I don't think he'd go into Baltimore and have the same impact because Lamar Jackson's already running all around the field, and they need their running backs to be smash em eye for him, and that's why they went and got Ingram. Kamara's not that guy. So it really depends on where he goes, but he's a guy that if any system isn't an eye for him, smash him up the middle of the mouth, which is 90% of the league is now not like that, he's going to absolutely make them a way better team wherever he goes. But New Orleans at the same time, if they do trade him, they'll be fine. They'll find a way to make it work. That system is just made to make great players even better.
You see a sign-in trade happening with Fournette?
I could
and then trade Kamara?
Well, I think if anyone is going to I mean, the only reason you would do that aspect is because Fournette you would think would get less, and you would trade him. So a team would have to sign him and then trade him and be willing to then take on Kamara's money. So you'd have to have a team with a higher end. So the teams that have the most cap space right now are like the Patriots and the Browns. And I'll be honest with you, like, for instance, with the Patriots, if Bill Belichick is looking at those two running backs, and if he knows he can get Fournette, let's say for $2.5 million, or has to pay Kamara's contract and know he's got to come up with a big restructure, he's just going to take Fournette.
Well, Kamara is definitely valued higher than Fournette.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume. You know.
Oh, yeah. But you could get Fournette right now on a 2-year contract where you could dump him on the second year and not have it hit your team's cap number very much. But Kamara's going to come with an expectation of, I mean, that's why he's holding out. You're going to, I want to be signed.
Right.
Or you're going to have another team that's just going to take him and he's going to turn around and just be like, well, now I'm going to sit on your bench. So could they? Sure. But I don't think that's a play with Fournette just being a free agent right now. I think if the Jaguars, again, I just think the Jaguars have a shitty salesman that can't sell gold. If they were smart, they would have been hearing the rumblings going on in New Orleans a couple days ago, and maybe they would have, who knows, they might have, but I really think that if that was the truth, they would have stepped forward to New Orleans and said, how about a running back swap? We'll pay Kamara. We'll pay him, and then you can either keep Fournette for $4.5 million or let him walk after a year. And he's going to do well in that system, and I think he would have been fine, but so be it.
All right, well, the Bears also announced that Matt Nagy is going to announce his starting quarterback this week.
Early
this coming week. And look, I feel like it's going to be Trubisky. I feel like they're going to give Trubisky every opportunity to fail. And I don't say succeed. I say every opportunity to fail because that's just what he's shown that he can do. Now, it's going to do one of two things, and we've talked about this before. A, it's going to light a fire under Trubisky, and he's going to come out and he's going to have a Pro Bowl type year like he had 2 seasons ago, and he's going to come out and the Bears are going to be really, really good. Or he's going to come out and he's going to be what everybody thinks that he is at this point because, I mean, hey, look, you are what you are, and we've seen what you are, and it's not very good. And 2 games in, he's going to have a really short leash, and then Nick Foles is going to get there. I don't think there's any way that Matt Nagy announces that Nick Foles is a starting quarterback. Nick Foles has never played 16 games as a starting quarterback. So
isn't that a crazy stat for a guy that almost single-handedly won a Super Bowl against one of the best teams that's ever been on the field? That's crazy.
So given that and the fact that, he's usually better coming off the bench, I just don't see any scenario where they come out and say that Nick Foles is the starting quarterback. I just don't.
Yeah, I'm right with you in every aspect, except if you remember my prediction, I actually think that Mitch comes out and they go 4-0, which you said, well, if he does that, great. They're going to ride him. But I think they go 4-0 because they win some close games and he's not throwing up Pro Bowl numbers. And then it's going to hit him. They're going to go on a 2 or 3 game losing streak and they're going to go, okay, Nick, now it's time to step in.
If he comes out and they go 4-0, but he's not playing well, he's going to lose that locker room quicker than you would think.
Yeah.
Because I think, to be honest with you, I think he's already lost the locker room. I think people already know that Nick Foles is the better quarterback of the 2.
Yep.
And so I don't know. I think that he is. I want the kid to succeed. I don't want the quarterback of my NFL franchise to be horrible. I don't. I want the kid to come out and do well. I'm not rooting against him. I just don't feel like he has the ability to be a franchise quarterback. I don't feel like he has the ability to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And so I don't see it happening, but I hope I'm wrong. I'm not going to lie. I hope I'm really wrong.
Well, I think everyone of you Bears fans are hoping that because of what happened. I mean, I know it probably gives you nightmares, but revisit draft night. They trade to go up 1 pick to go get him, and you watch guys like Deshaun Watson and Mahomes get drafted after him, and that's hard for a franchise to do. And that doesn't mean that Mahomes gets picked by another team. We all know he's amazing talent, but Tom Brady on another team might not have ever been Tom Brady. Mahomes on another team might not have been Mahomes. Like, we don't always know these things. I think sometimes we just assume they're always just going to be the greatest, but sometimes the stars don't align the right way and they don't get their opportunity. But because that happened and what has happened since that draft, you want the kid to succeed. But I think when they said we're not picking up your option, and then they signed Big Dick Nick, I mean, it's the writing on the wall, as you said. But I think the ownership, because of the fact that they made that move and because he had a decent season 2 years ago, they're still trying to save face here. Like, listen, we're giving him his opportunity because we felt he deserved it. There's a reason we made this move, but they've got their finger on that on that parachute to just to bring Foles in to pull it real quick.
And that's where I definitely think that's the message to them. Look, we're bringing in Nick Foles to push you, and we're bringing in Nick Foles in case you can't do what we signed you to do. Then we're bringing him in, and we're going to take away your 5th year. We're not going to give you. We're going to decline your 5th year option. So you're playing right now for your NFL career. Yeah,
literally.
Go out and show us what you can do, and if you do great things, your 5th year option isn't going to matter anyway because we're going to give you an extension.
Yeah. So that's the interesting thing too. By the way, I think it was a lot of people are like, man, why didn't you just cut him or anything like that? This is what it takes sometimes to be a franchise. You can't just go willy-nilly and just sign this guy and get things to succeed. You have to develop people, and sometimes they come under what you expect, but it's your job to get them back to what the expectations were. And yes, at some point, finally, you got to say, okay, we're going to cut the cord and go. But at least in this aspect, they said no 5th round draft pick. We picked someone 5th year option and we picked someone else up. But like you said, that's just this is your contract year, buddy. Yeah. This is not just your contract year with us. This is potentially your contract with the NFL year. Make it or break it. And I'm with you. I don't dislike Mitch Trubisky. I liked what I saw out of him in engagement when he would run, the excitement from the offensive players, when you get a big first down after scrambling. Like, I like that. But, I mean, that meme with him just with a guy wide open in the middle with the Red Sea parted open, like, he can't make those mistakes. And unfortunately, I don't know if Mitch Trubisky has shown me anything that he won't make those mistakes again. And my prediction is, again, close games the first 4. They win all 4 of them. But I don't think it's going to be because he's doing anything spectacular, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out, and we'll see who they announce. I don't see any way that they don't announce that Trubisky is starting.
Reports say that Nick is the front runner right now. A lot of them I'm reading. So,
well, yeah, I think in the locker room, I think they like him better. I think they know he's a better quarterback, but I think they have to give Trubisky every chance to fail before they can bring in Foles.
Some people, I'm waiting for the comments to come up and be like, every chance to fail. He's already failed every chance times 2.
So the NFL has announced that they are taking over the investigation of the Washington not Redskins anymore.
What a dumpster fire!
And look, this thing, it's getting crazy now. Like, how many investigations do you have to do on one franchise before you take over and just say
enough's enough?
Enough's enough.
Enough's enough.
You're a train wreck. Look, how many times does a criminal commit a crime before he's doing life in prison in California? 3 strikes, you're out, right? Like, you've got to be able to do something to this, because it is nothing but issues, nothing but problems. The owner is a clown. And it should not be an owner of any franchise, let alone an NFL franchise. He just shouldn't be. He's not a good person. And it goes to my old adage. I used to say it all the time. Just because you have the money to own it does not mean you have the brains to run it. Yeah. And he doesn't have the brains or the intestinal fortitude to be a good owner.
Well, let's look at Donald Sterling. We've brought this up on the show before, but Donald Sterling is a perfect example. And Adam Silver comes in with the NBA. And if you don't know who Donald Sterling was, he was the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers. Adam Silver comes in as the new commissioner of the NBA, and immediately there were aspects of accusations of racial comments. There were phone calls recorded. There was issues pertaining with his wife and some things pertaining with people in the administration. And they didn't do all this like, we're going to run an investigation. We're going to do this. The team gets to run their own investigation. Adam Silver pretty much came in saw everything going on, looked at the rest of the league and goes, hey, guys, do you think that we should get rid of this dumpster fire of a friggin' owner? And they were all like, yeah, here's a bunch of money, pay him off, just go. And he just made that decision. And there was news of like how he was going to sue them back and everything, and it was just dead. New owner came in, it was just like nothing ever happened. That's literally what will happen here if they do this. Just cut the cord. I don't understand in all the positives that the NFL has done to put the gap between them and the NBA of 1 and 2 as the NBA has tried to chisel in. They've done everything. They still had their draft, which was amazing. They still had free agency. Even though they got rid of preseason, they're keeping us fully engaged. They're getting us excited about opening weekend with Thursday and everything like that. Like, they're still doing everything to stay on top. And here's an opportunity for them to literally like cut off their left foot or something, like with them climbing up the mountain, like it slide back down. Like, just get this over with. And the fact that he put out a message like I'm be completely happy with the NFL's investigation and blah 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 blah. At the same token, if I'm the Redskins owner, or I'm sorry, the Maroon and Gold's owner,
not Redskins anymore,
not Redskins owner, Snyder, I would just right now just be like, yeah, they're going to go through the investigation, and I'm going to sell all my stock and go take a month-long vacation in Italy right now. I need to just clear my mind and just not come back. Like, he's had so many times to run. But obviously, with what we're hearing, this guy's an egomaniac, and he thinks that he can do whatever he wants. And because of that, the NFL just needs to come together. The owners need to get together. I know it's a boys' club, but they got to come together and go, if this drags out, we will look terrible.
Yeah.
Cut it out and be done with it. And I'm just blown away they haven't done it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a joke at this point. So, anyway, I have the third pick in tonight's draft that I have in my fantasy league that I'm playing in. And who do you think I should take?
Well, if my thought process will be
McCaffrey, I'm thinking PPR.
McCaffrey go 1, and there's a chance Barkley goes 2.
Right.
Because he's their only offensive weapon.
Yep.
You know who you need to go with. Come on, man. It's our boy. You got to go Zeke with 3.
I'm thinking because it's a PPR league, man. I really like the idea of maybe I'm outthinking myself, but that kid from Kansas City, man, Edwards-Helaire.
No, not yet, because remember, with Kansas City, what they can do is they make a superstar out of you a week or two, and then all of a sudden you're not. And the focus is he's going to be their top running back in that aspect, right? But you're going to get a 32-point game out of him, and then you're going to get 6 points because Mahomes has so many weapons. We've talked about this over and over. Ezekiel Elliott is the machine and the motor for the Dallas Cowboys. He's efficient year in and year out. Sure, he'll lose a couple catches, so if it's a PPR league, that might hurt you. But they've already been talking about how they're going to make this a run-focused team first, not because they don't trust the wide receivers, but they want to make it where their wide receivers are that much more open, which to me – seems like the coaching is just trying to make it where Dak looks even better, which if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. If you're coaching the Dallas Cowboys right now, you need to give Dak a chance to succeed. But I mean, man, he's just, we talk about it all the time. He's just the most efficient player in the NFL. He's gone up in the efficiency rating every year. It's your team, my man. But if I'm you, I'm drafting Zeke. Now, I wish that was the choice I had in our league, but unfortunately I didn't have that choice with the last damn pick.
Sean Weechek times in. Is that a Calvin Ridley? Yes, it is.
It is, Sean.
And look, all we have to do is 100 subscribers. And look, I got both of these jerseys behind me are going into that giveaway. This is an autographed Calvin Ridley Alabama jersey. Got the JSA certification on it, so. Yeah,
and Sean's a huge Atlanta Falcons fan, and he just posted yesterday some nasty videos of Calvin Ridley. So, Sean, I don't know if you heard it at the beginning, but
jersey too. Then,
Michael Vick. Yep. So, You got to subscribe, Sean. Make sure I can see your subscription on YouTube. But every week, you know what we should do every Sunday to try to drive this in, Mr. Combs? So we should put you should put all 10 items in a bucket, like write them down, and then one by one, like each Sunday you just pull them out, because we have our show Sunday night. If we don't hit 100, you just pull it out and go, this is no longer available.
Hey.
So Sean, share the page, get people to subscribe. You subscribe. We get to 100 people. We just need 73 more. We get to 100 people. All of the things are there, and you could have that Calvin Ridley jersey.
Sunday we pull it up. We pull something off the table if we're not at 100. So
yep.
But yeah, so let's get into some NBA talk, because I made you talk about how your Bruins were eliminated. So I do want to let you boast a little bit, because today your Celtics did go up 2-0 on the Toronto Raptors. I said on Sunday that I think that they were going to sweep the Toronto Raptors. I think that they are the best team in basketball right now. I think that they're better than the Los Angeles Lakers right now. I really do. I think that the Celtics are the team to beat in the East, and I think that they're the team to beat in the NBA right now.
It is. I said it when we started this. They're the only team in the league, regular season and in the bubble, top 4 efficiency in both offense and defense. And that's just to me, the guy that's just expected to coach well, the next Popovich and Stevens, and he's just coaching his lights out and how he talks. I mean, they had an interview during the game where they started doing better because they kind of came out slow. And if it wasn't for Robert Williams doing well in the first quarter, they would have kind of been behind by a good chunk. And they caught up. And in fact, they were doing the interview with him, and the Celtics were up by 2. And he's like, man, we're playing like crap. We're slow. We're walking right now. We're not doing anything. And I was like, woo, Stevens is mad. But I mean, what's great is you're seeing Tatum come out and truly be that leader, and Kemba Walker and Brown and all these other guys, they're just rotating, and Marcus Smart, they just rotate on who's doing what. But then you're seeing those bench players that, as Celtics fans, we saw them draft some in the later rounds, and they've held on to them, and they're developing. But we were like, a lot of us were just like, hey, but is it going to really equate to anything? And now we're seeing in the playoffs, some of these guys just coming up and they don't need to have a full stellar game, but some of these guys are stepping up and having a quarter where they're the best player on the court. And that's how you win in the NBA. I know the superstar aspect is the thought process, but when your whole team through the bench, teams that win championships, their bench can outscore your bench. And Stevens is making sure the Celtics is doing it. So good win by them today. I still don't predict that I'll love to see if they sweep. I'd love your prediction to be right. But I mean, the Raptors had many chances to win the game tonight. So I think they get 1 or 2 out of here, because the Raptors are still one hell of a team too. I just think the Celtics are better.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. The Thunder and Jazz, the fourth game 7s in the bubble in either sport, which I've been really disappointed in hockey that we haven't gotten any game 7s.
I know.
You know? But look, we've had some really good overtime games in hockey, but the Thunder and the Jazz are forced in the first game 7s in the bubble. Do you think that the Thunder are going to come out and upset Houston?
Well, as long as we go to the Jazz game, which is going to be on here shortly, or it's already on, we got to make sure. See what we just did?
Your boy Donovan Mitchell. That game.
Forget that. No one in the national attention. I turn on YouTube TV on my phone, and I make sure my GPS is off the region so I don't get all the regional stuff. And it was still the 5th high. The game coming up, Game 7, with the Jazz and the Nuggets. It's getting no attention. This series is just insane. It was the 5th highest record. Women's tennis. No offense, women's tennis. Great women's players, Serena. I get it. But when that's number 3 and that game's number 5, that was ridiculous. But do I think – someone asked me this today. Are the Thunder going to do it? Are they going to do it? And, of course, I live down here in Oklahoma City, so they've kind of become my second team. I watch them in and out. Literally – take the quarter that's in your pocket and flip it. The Houston Rockets have the 3 games they've won, they have purely dominated the Thunder. The 3 games the Thunder have won, they've had to fight, but they fought more than the Rockets are willing to do. So what team comes out? Do you get the James Harden team that they come out and they're just drilling every shot, they're just making you look weak? Or is it the team that when you put up a fight against them, all of a sudden they get sloppy like we saw them do in the 4th quarter? Flip a coin. I flip a coin. I couldn't – if you gave me 100 of your own dollars, I would feel terrible putting money on the game. I'd give it back to you. Like, I literally think this is a 50-50 Game 7. I really do. And it's a 4 or 5 seed. This is the way 4 or 5 seeds should be.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And we get to the Jazz and the Nuggets, and your boy Donovan Mitchell, who, as I turn on the game, is laying on the court, writhing in pain.
Shut your damn face.
That is not Mitchell that is laying on the court, writhing in pain. But you've got, the Nuggets and Jazz, who are just, look, they're the same caliber team. They are the same team. And it's going to be a really good game. Right now, Denver is up by 17, just almost to halftime right now.
So that's not something I don't think the Jazz can overcome. But we keep saying Donovan Mitchell because I gave you so much crap about him. But Jamal Murray, just what he's doing as well. He's done something in a 3-game straight stretch that hasn't been done since Michael Jordan. Think about that. We talk about all these greats since the time of Jordan. You're talking about Kobe. You're talking about LeBron. You're talking about all these other greats. He's done something in the last 3 games that none of those guys have done since Jordan. It's insanity. It's so good. There we go, Sean. Subscribe. Now make sure you want to get your chances of getting that Ridley jersey go down if we pull it out on Sunday, or it goes down when we get ready to take one of the items off. So share it and get your friends to subscribe as well. But listen, that series is just insane, and no one is talking about it. But those two are just lighting the court up. I hope this game isn't a blowout. I hope Denver doesn't just walk out there and win this by 35 because it deserves a buzzer beater game. It deserves what Luka did. And then they just flopped the Mavericks after that. But that's what it deserves. Amazing series that no one talks about. And I've said this. If this was Boston, Philly, if it was, hell, even if it was the Lakers, Portland, because people were like, Portland could upset them, and they played the one game, and everyone was on fire. No one is talking about this series. And the 2-3 people are like, oh, no, people are talking about it. You're hardcore NBA fans. You're the ones that don't judge, debate shows on sports channels and go, I don't even know who Donovan Mitchell is. So.
I didn't know they were going to Game 7 until I was looking at the scores, doing the rundown today.
Exactly. Yeah. And it has been by and far, even with the Thunder Rockets being a great series, which is getting way more attention, it has been by and far the better series than Thunder Rockets. Because Thunder Rockets, like I said, the 3 games the Rockets won, they dominated. Those weren't games. Those are one-sided affairs.
Right.
It's just crazy, but it's because it's Denver Nuggets, it's the Utah Jazz. No one cares.
It's true.
It's too bad.
On that note, game on! Game on! Keep wheeling, you feel it. Whoa, big shoots! Big score!
All right, so you guys know what that means. It is time to play our weekly game. Way or no way?
No way. Yes way.
Friday afternoon, going with my boys.
I was gonna say, did you see that yet?
I haven't yet. I gotta wait until I can get. I got 2 days of vacation, so Friday afternoon I'm gonna take them early morning, 11 o'clock.
I can tell you did not listen to the show on Sunday because I know you've been busy. But I said that you were probably did not have a power outage on Sunday, and that you were probably at the movie theater watching.
I won't lie to you. If someone had been like, "Hey, we don't need tickets to this Bill and Ted movies," that's when I probably would be like, "Oh, geez, I don't know what to do, Mr. Combs. I feel bad."
So let's get to our way or no way. So I saw a story today about Teddy Bridgewater and how a lot of people think that he is going to do really good things in Carolina. And that got me thinking, is Teddy Bridgewater the leading candidate for comeback player of the year?
No, he's not even a candidate for comeback player of the year. This is the problem. This is what I've it's a no way, because I've had this conversation with other people. Comeback player of the year means that your season was limited where you weren't able to play the year before for whatever circumstance. Teddy Bridgewater was able to play all 16 games last year for the Saints. He was just Drew Brees' backup, and he ended up earning himself that. What's that?
Why is he a backup?
Why was he the backup? Because he was the backup for Drew Brees. Right, for the injury before. But last year he was healthy all 16 games.
Right.
He was able to play. You can't take any bench players that are dressed for all 16 games and only come out on special teams or only come out every once in a while on field goal attempts or something like that and call him a comeback player of the year if the next year they all of a sudden break out because they dressed all 16 games. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't need to care. Here's the other thing. He doesn't need to care about comeback player of the year. To him, he tweeted that post about what happened back in 2016. He's made his comeback. He thanked the injury for changing his life. He earned the starting quarterback spot by Carolina because they saw him manage the games for New Orleans, and he deserved to be a leader. He doesn't need comeback player, and he's not even available for it, so no way.
So I think he should be available for it. Look, that injury in Minnesota, I thought he was phenomenal in Minnesota before the injury, and I thought that he was going to be, and I said it, I thought he was going to be a top 5 quarterback in the league in Minnesota, and then the injury happened. And for him to get injured like that, Minnesota moved on. They did what they needed to do for their franchise because they weren't sure how healthy he was going to be or how well he was going to come back. And he ended up going to New Orleans. And you're not going to sit Drew Brees to play Teddy Bridgewater coming off of an injury. But then when he did come back, he went 5-0. Like, the guy did good things, and he's still coming back off of that injury. He hasn't gotten the chance to be a starter because of where he went coming off the injury. I think he absolutely should be available for the comeback player of the year, and I think he should be the leading candidate.
So what if Drew Brees got hurt? What if
Gronk to be the comeback player of the year? Gronk took the year off because he wanted to.
I was going to give you a hot take. Here's my thing. I vote Gronk to be it because of what the rules allow for, but I actually disagree with the NFL allowing players like Gronk who retire or don't play for their own decision then to come back and be considered. That should not be allowed. And that's why I'm saying no way with Teddy, because it's not even possible. He dressed for all 16 games. If Drew Brees went down 1 minute in week 1 and was out for the season, a la Tom Brady, the year Matt Castle took over from him, he would have played all 16 games. And then, yes, you're considered for it. But that's not the case. He dressed. He was able to play. He did not play. Last year was his comeback year. Well, this is not, by rule, it's not. And that's
and get Goodell on the show so we can talk to him about this because this needs to change.
As long as he has his edibles and he can sit in his big brown leather chair and just relax back and be like, what are we doing? What's in this card?
So we talked about the Washington not Redskins anymore a little bit in the –
They're the Bobs, by the way. I can't believe we forgot that.
Yeah, the Bobs, I'm still keep going with the not Redskins anymore. So if the NFL doesn't remove Dan Snyder, the Washington not Redskins anymore will never be a relevant organization again.
Because it's, I say no way just in the fact that Daniel Snyder has to die sometime. And so ever again means in the history of the future.
All right, until he relinquishes, they're not going to be a relevant organization. How about that?
Until he relinquishes, if they don't get rid of him, then away. They cannot succeed with this man owning that team, period. Ron Rivera is in there, and he's already battling cancer. And I know that people are going to tell me that it's crazy and you can't say this, but major stress and anxiety and frustrations are part of what creates things like cancerous cells. Yeah. And he all of a sudden goes into this and has to be their PR guy and their guy that talks about how they're going to do better. And then he gets a form of cancer. They just can't succeed. They try. They get some decent players that at least want to put the effort out there, the Alex Smiths, the Adrian Petersons, the things like that. But they can't. No, it all comes to who is the head. And if your head is the most disgusting, self-rotten person there is, then no, you can't succeed.
Yeah, that's why it's away from me too. They're until this guy has no say in this team and is out of the picture, gone for good.
Yep.
They can't. He's not a good person. Not only that, but people are going to stop wanting to play for him. You're not going to get anybody to go there. You're going to have to, you're going to pick the bottom of the barrel, as we say, the Bobs.
The Bobs.
Bottom of the barrel for all of the freaking players as well, because nobody's going to go there. You're going to have guys that draft. They're going to play for you for 3 years. They're going to shine for 3 years and do everything that they can to be noticed, and then they're going to leave. That's what's going to happen to your organization until you let go of it.
Well, they're going to go.
The NFL absolutely needs to step in.
They'll play for Ron Rivera, and that was the one decent thing that I think he's done. But the problem is he's already leaned on Ron Rivera to be his mop-up guy when Ron Rivera's been there for 3 months. Like, it's terrible. Ron Rivera is going to be out of there in no time, be on his own desire.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. All right, so this other one that I read earlier, and this one was interesting to me. Saquon Barkley will have 2,500 plus yards from scrimmage this season. Now, I saw this in an ESPN article who said, there are ways that this guy is going to get to over 2,500 yards from scrimmage, and got me really excited heading into my fantasy football draft tonight because I was hoping to get, a top 1 or 2 pick. Unfortunately, I ended up with 3, so I think I'm going to miss out on him. But, this guy does it all. I mean, him and Christian McCaffrey are the 2 best all-around running backs. And I say that, with knowing what Ezekiel Elliott does out of the backfield. But Ezekiel Elliott can't catch the ball like these guys can.
Right.
He's not a wide receiver like these guys are. So these guys are the 2 best all-around running backs in the game right now. And the way Daniel Jones is going to have to rely on the run game and the checkdowns this year, Look, 2,500 yards to me seems shortchanging Saquon Barkley, if you ask me.
I'm going to go no way and say he gets 24.99 because he's so good. But here's my problem with it. That offensive line is the biggest piece.
You went Wayne G on me without going Wayne G.
No, I'm giving you a no way, but I'm still giving him credit for what he is. He's still worth the number 2 pick in fantasy, but it's that offensive line is just hot garbage. And Saquon's going to have a couple games where he is just going to get pissed off because they're going to go up against some teams that get some stellar defensive, not only lines, they're going to stop him, but linebackers who are going to be able to get him. When you talk about those checkdowns, okay, he'll get the catch, but he'll get 1 yard on a little out flat because the linebacker will be able to hunt him down quickly. Because there'll be no one to chip him off the edge. Like it's a bad situation on the offensive line. So I'm gonna go no way, not on him. That offensive line.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely going away. I think 2,500 yards, like I said, could be shortchanging him because he's that special of a player. He's that good. And so I really hope that, if the Fernando Tatis jersey doesn't get pulled on Sunday, that it's the Saquon Barkley jersey. Saquon Barkley is really good, and I really think 2,500 yards is definitely doable for him.
I like him. I liked him coming out of Penn State.
So the last one that we have here is Matthew Stafford being a favorite fantasy target, which he has been in fantasy, and he's trending very high in fantasy drafts, is good news for everyone else that is not drafting him.
100% way, because I am one of the guys not drafting him, and already in a couple fantasy drafts I've been in, watched him not only get picked in front of me, but it creates a reaction that all of a sudden other Detroit players get picked, and then I'm left with a guy that should have gone 10 picks before me. Listen, it's not knocking Matthew Stafford. I love the kid. I loved him coming out of Georgia. I was a big fan of his. He broke his back and part of his neck. Like, he got messed up last year. You don't just get up and succeed at a high-end level. Does he have the talent up here to be able to do it? Yeah. Was he one time tough as nails? Oh, hell yeah. You can't be that tough with those injuries. Like, really look at the injury that he went through and what he had to do. Because everyone talks about Alex Smith and his leg, which had to almost get cut off. Sure. That was a really, really bad injury setup. And he not only that, he aggravated it more because he actually got injured and then continued to try to play through it for a couple weeks. And the Lions were like, if you think you could do it, we'll give you some shots and just go do it. Messed him up more. So, yeah, it's a way. Go ahead. Go draft Matthew Stafford and all the Lions people in front of me and give me, Alvin Kamara just because he's not, playing in practice.
I don't understand the love for Matthew Stafford because even when he's healthy, they're still the Detroit Lions. They still don't have a ton of weapons. They still don't like. I get the guy. The guy when he's healthy, he's a good quarterback. He's a top quarterback in the league when he's healthy. But when you're taking him fantasy wise, who is he throwing the ball to?
Well, according to Joshua Beebe, the best wide receiver in the NFC North.
Yeah, last time I remember, Megatron retired.
Yep.
Like, and you keep calling this guy, Babytron or whatever the hell they want to call him over there in Detroit. Look, he doesn't have the weapons. And if you want to go to draft Matt Stafford, I hope to God somebody drafts Matt Stafford in the 6th round today, because that means there's going to be another player who should have been gone that's not going to be gone that I can steal.
I have watched him get picked over Tom Brady. I've watched him get picked over Russell Wilson in a league, and I barfed. And so guess what I did? I drafted Russell Wilson.
Who the hell took him?
2 picks before me. And what I thought was the guy after him would end up picking Russell Wilson, and instead he picked the wide receiver there in Detroit, Babytron. And I was like, that's why I just came up with that example. I'm like, did you pick it because he picked Stafford and you thought you wanted to not have him locked in on the 2-point advantage because there's something amazing together? And I was like, Russell Wilson. People were like, oh, dang it. That was a great pick. I was hoping to do it. I'm like, I know. Notice how no one said that about your 2 picks before?
Yeah. That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I don't get it. I won't do it. That's for sure. But speaking of drafts, how is your approach at Minshew going?
I'm going all in, baby. I've decided that this weekend, so I've got some open time finally coming up here Saturday, Sunday before we record, and then Monday I'm off, and I've got absolutely no one in my home. I'm signing up for every freaking fantasy football league I can. That's a public one, and I don't care. And I am going to do everything in my power to make sure Gardner Minshew is put first round, and I'm going to screenshot every single one of them and say, I don't want you, Beer. I don't want any of that. I just want you. 5 minutes.
Take this clip and add it to whatever you have to add it to. If you do that, and if Gardner Minshew comes on the show, I will shave into a Minshew stash.
There we go, baby. There we go.
So if
I was going to say you're going to get me a Minshew signed jersey, but I'll take that over that.
If I find one, I'll get you one. So, all right, guys. So normally here we do our shop talk segment, and this is the segment for the fans, and we interact with you guys, and we answer questions that you want to talk about. But today we're going to go a different route with it. Yesterday, the softball community over in Vermont, where I played for the last 5-6 years before moving out of there, lost one of their really young, bright, talented players. And even more importantly, they lost a friend, a brother, a son, and he took his own life. And Jack Sweet was one of those guys who, if you met him, he made everything brighter. His smile lit up a room. He was an amazing kid and an even more amazing friend. And I didn't get to know him, greatly. Beyond playing with him on the field and being a teammate of his for 2 seasons, I didn't get to bond with him off the field, but I am friends with people who were really close to him, and my heart completely goes out to them and to Jack and his family. It is a very sad time in that community because they are really a tight-knit community. That softball family, if you guys don't know, what it is. I mean, when you play softball and you get into teams and leagues and all that stuff, you're traveling with one another, you're going to tournaments with one another, you're staying at hotels, you're doing all sorts of stuff together. So you really become a tight-knit family. Yep. And I was really, really bothered when I got the news yesterday that he had taken his own life and he lost his battle. He had struggled with depression his whole life, which I didn't know about until yesterday. And so I just want to read you guys real quick his obituary, which is Jackson Avery Sweet was born on September 11th, 1997, to his loving parents, David and Danielle Sweet. Everyone called him Jack. He began his life in Vershire, Vermont, across the road from his grandparents, Steve and Gina Boyd, who gave Jack a home away from home. Later, Jack and his family moved to Stratford, where they reside today. Jack was a beloved son, big brother, grandson, nephew, cousin, friend, and teammate. Jack loved to snowmobile, compete in snowmobile racing, and play baseball and softball. But his favorite thing was hunting and fishing with his little brother and his dad. Whatever he did, his brother, parents, grandparents, and uncles were there to cheer him on. He enjoyed spending time with his family and friends at the camp in Derby, as well as vacations to the Cape and Culebra, especially with his younger brother, Jesse, who he adored and who had a close relationship with. He had a huge group of friends with whom he made many memories. Jack attended Caring Community Preschool, Westshire Elementary School, Wellspring and Chelsea, Thetford Academy, Riverbend Technical Center. He graduated in 2016. Jack attended Paul Smith College before joining his dad in the family business as a carpenter. He worked alongside his dad, and together they created beautiful homes together throughout the Upper Valley. Jesse joined them on school vacations and made it a real family business. Jack's struggles with depression grew as the years went by, which ultimately resulted in him ending his own life. We encourage you to reach out if you or a loved one needs help. In lieu of flowers, please consider making donation in Jack's names to the Clara Martin Center in Bradford, Vermont. If you'd like to make donations to that, let me know. I will certainly get everybody the address that they need to make the donations to the Clara Martin Center in Vermont. I'm going to be making a donation in Jack's name as well. They will be having a celebration of life. Jack is survived by his parents, Dave and Danny, his brother Jesse, his grandparents, Steve and Gina Boyd, as well as Robert and Victoria Sweet. He is also survived by his uncles Chris Boyd, Darren Perrin, Tim Sweet, Jack's girlfriend Jenny Gilman, and his best friend Liam Rocher. He had many other close friends and relatives he loved and who loved him. And that is probably the truest statement of all, is that many, many people loved Jack, and he was a beautiful soul. And, you know, I just hope he's up there raising hell and doing the things that I know Jack loved to do. And you know, I just feel for him and feel for his family. So we're going to leave you guys here with a little memorial. We're going to play Mises' song, which is all about depression and getting help and coping with the things that people need to cope with. And I said it before and I'll say it again. If you ever need somebody to talk to, reach out. There's always something that we can do. And if you're struggling and you're fighting with your demons, by all means, do everything that you can to seek the help that you need. And even if it's just to talk, any time of day, any time of night, just reach out. Because I'd much rather listen to your struggles at 3 a.m. than to get the call at 3 a.m. that you're no longer with us. So have a good night, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed the show.
I'm still in your dreams and I'm struggling. Do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still in your dreams and I'm struggling. Do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still in your dreams and I'm struggling. Do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still in your dreams and I'm struggling. Do you see me? How can I lie? All up in my face every time that I talk, every time that I stop. Take a breath for a second before you stepping on my chest, taking shots. Keep it while it's down. But you never keep it down. I'm a king with my crown and the king with the king of me. Won the victory when he rose from the ground. Jesus! Can't shut his name proud. Care about the in crowd. Care about truth. That's something you don't know about. Might try to make change, but the trolls wanna change me back to the old me. This in high school, you don't know me. Not all you just troll me. Got so. Do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm I'm still dreams of the sun. When do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still dreams of the sun. When do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still dreams of the sun. When do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still dreams of the sun. When do you see me? You know about demons, so I know a whole lot. Fight him in my sleep all the time, speaking time, wake me up at 3 o'clock. So what's that tell you? Think it means that I'm going to hell? Do hell no, it means I'm a threat to him. So I suggest that you listen real close to what I tell you. Cause I ain't gonna be here long, but you can always hear a song. On myself while I try still when I write this. Get straight to hold on. Struggle for so long, I don't even know what peace feel like. My dreams died, this is real life. Tears in my eyes, looking at the ceiling like. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm still dreams of the sun. When do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still dreams of the sun. When do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still dreams of the sun. When do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still dreams of the sun. When do you see me? I think I lost my mind. All of it, I think I lost in time. Tell me where you go, I think I lost my mind. All of it, I think I lost in time. Do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still dreams of the sun. Do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still dreams of the sun. Do you see me?